Can LinkedIn video really drive sales to your business? I'm not so sure that I'm a believer. However, we've got a guest today that's destined to change our minds. Judy Fox of Fox Rocks joins the show today. She's got over 1 million views on LinkedIn. She's using video to grow her coaching and consulting business, and we're going to take a look at what she's doing. Stay tuned, folks. It's the Business of Video podcast.
You're listening to the Business of Video podcast, where the world's top YouTubers and marketers talk about what's working with online video. This podcast is recorded live on Facebook every week, and you can join us when you visit businessofvideopodcast.com. And now your hosts, Owen Video and Nick Newman.
Welcome back to the Business of Video podcast, where you'll hear from real business owners sharing their video marketing campaign strategies. I'm Owen Video here as the usual with my good friend Nick Play Button Nimmin, and we're live every week on Facebook, YouTube, and iTunes. And you can give me 5. That's right. Type 5 in the comments section right now. That will subscribe you to the show if you're watching us live on Facebook. And, of course, if you're listening on iTunes, checking us out on YouTube, don't forget to click that red or whatever color it might be subscribe button and subscribe to the show. Nick, I'm pumped to be here. It's Halloween. Do you have anything is it Halloween anything over in Thailand?
You know, Halloween is a thing, kind of like they have some stuff at the stores for Halloween. There might be like a little tiny little itty bitty section, but it's not an event like it is for us here.
Right.
Like maybe some of the like local bars and things like that will have Halloween, but the general public, no, Halloween is definitely not a thing, and you will not see a trick-or-treater walking the streets here.
Yeah, I wonder how that works, in other countries, or even in some of like the more dangerous roads in America. I know for us, we always pick, first of all, we hit like all the harvest festivals and trunk or treats that happen before Halloween, right? Like the alternative Halloween games, we hit those up the weekend before. On Halloween, it's all about, let's just say that the nicer neighborhoods. Is that a thing we could say?
Let's just cut right to it and say you're going for the big chocolate bars. You're going for the money. You're like, hey, you know what? If I can get a bunch of Snickers bars, then maybe I could repackage those and sell them somewhere. If I can get like a bunch of Kit Kats together as a group, there's a chance I might be able to do something with these.
Good.
But unfortunately, getting the same bar, because everybody, you know how it is these days. Everybody wants to be unique. Everybody's like, oh, well, nobody's going to give the candy I'm giving the best candy than anybody.
Yeah, fish
It's going to be difficult to get the same bars, Owen. So I don't think that plan's going to work out.
You know what? You may have some pointers there. And when all else fails, folks, I pull out the cute kids, right? You go and you get some shrimp chips or a penny. You get pennies. I heard one guy's going to be giving away Bitcoin down the way, so that'll be interesting. And Beanie Draws is saying Halloween is a thing out in his city, and he's oceans away, so that's great to hear. I pull out. Do we have a picture of the kids? I pull out the cute kids. This was our plan this year, was to go as the varying stages of Michael Jackson. So you can see we all have a different stage of Michael Jackson. Benny's got Thriller. Me and my wife, we're both together. We're bad. I'm bad in the very opening of the video when he wakes up and he's singing. So those are the jammies, and you can see the varying levels there. So, we hope that if we get sort of the bad candy, we'll pull the kids out and see if we can make something happen.
That's awesome. I have to say that's the best picture I've seen possibly ever. And the thought of thinking, the thought of the family saying, hey, we're going to go out as the different stages of Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, that's great.
Show-stopping.
Now somebody's got to say it. I don't know if it's too early, but is anybody the zombie?
Benny was really pre-zombie. He was Michael Jackson in Thriller before he...
Yeah, but that's before Michael Jackson was really a zombie.
No, yeah. No, okay. All right. So you bring up an interesting point. I told my wife, I was like, I want to be Michael Jackson now. She says, I think that's inappropriate. But, Benny's in first grade, and kids in his school, they were all, Michael Jackson had passed away before these kids were even born. So it's really interesting to see who knows and who doesn't know. The teachers are going to get it, I think. And Carlos Zepeda, he's going to get it. He's out there saying, "What's up, guys?" He's with Kathy Spacey saying, "Morning, guys." Ian Crump logging in. Air 5, Ian. I want to give a shout out to Ian right now because Ian, participates, right? He comments in the group. He asks questions. Always a pleasure to hear from Ian. Carlos is saying, "We hit the high-end guard-gated neighborhoods first." I think.
How do you get past the guard?
Yeah. Well, what you don't know, maybe, is that Carlos is in real estate. So Carlos has all the gate keys, right? He has all, the number, the codes. He's on all the lists, Oh, yeah, no, hey, Team Kiwi, come on in.
Yeah, he's like Halloween VIP.
Yeah. He shows him a card, you know what I mean? He's just, Mr. Zepeda, just come on in. Who else is out there? We're glad to hear from you guys today. We have a phenomenal show today. Our guest today, I had the pleasure of meeting our guest at Video Marketing World. And it was one of those chance meetings. I'm walking out. I'm dead tired. And, I emceed that event. So I'm sort of walking out. I'm just exhausted. And then I see Fox Rocks. And she starts, "Oh, my gosh, you're Owen Video." We start chatting about what she does. 1 million views on LinkedIn and is using LinkedIn to grow her coaching and consulting business. So, I don't know. I've never really, I've been hearing about LinkedIn Video, haven't fully committed to it, and I want to hear from her. I want to hear what she's doing, how she's growing her coaching business, and how we can learn how to do that too. Sound like a fun show, Nick?
Sounds like a magnificent show, and I want to know if she really said, "Oh my God," before she said, "Is that Owen Video?"
Yeah, she did.
That's right. Let's get right down to it. She's like, "Oh my God, is that Owen Video?" That's what I did when I saw you the first time too. I'm like, "Oh my God, is that Owen Video?"
It's true. I think it was at a Thai restaurant the first time. It was it was in the hotel lobby. Which is where lots of people say, "Oh my gosh, is that Owen Video?" So we're gonna hear from Judy Fox, but first, we need to talk about your business and the videos you're making to advertise your business because they're atrocious. They're terrible. I saw a video the other day where a coach, a consultant type, logs in and just sort of hovers around the phone for a good, we're going to wait for people to show up. And it was just like, oh, dear heavens me. Video is terrible. You need to know how to make video for your business. And that's exactly why we created the YouTube Toolkit for business owners. That's right. This top secret guide will share with you how to create videos that actually convert into customers for your business. The YouTube Toolkit has a script template. They've got background set designs, really spared no expense in creating this free guide for business owners anywhere in the world. Go to youtubetoolkit.com. Check it out today. Plus, when you provide us with your email, you become a part of the community, and I think that's a fun part too. There's some additional training. We give you links to the Facebook groups, and you can really be a part of what we're doing online. And I think that's a lot of fun.
Owen, I just want to say I want to jump here really quick, and say that I dig the Facebook group for that. So I'm a part of that Facebook group as well. And I love going in and just being in that Facebook group also. A lot of awesome information being shared in that group. I just want to go ahead and say that real quick.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate that. We always love hearing from you. We love hearing from Beanie Draws. We love hearing from Paul Peck saying, "Right on, Owen." Rosh Silers says, "Good for the big candy." And hey, we got the Sonic guy, Paul Reiser. He says, "Hey, Owen, you're my new Wednesday lunch appointment. You guys are terrific." I love hearing that from the Sonic guy, Paul Reiser. Paul Reiser owns a whole bunch of Sonic restaurants and has a reality show where he goes in them and kind of sneak attacks them and does some fun things. He goes, "Man, I'm still waiting for my food because they know it's me." And I bet you they've remade it 3 times, And so it's funny. It's funny kind of seeing the inside look of a guy who owns the franchise. Rosh Silers is saying, Rosh Silers, man, voice today. Rosh Silers is saying LinkedIn Video really works well to develop your brand locally. Nick, have you ever had any success with LinkedIn Video?
I actually, unfortunately, I'm one of those people that's just coming onto LinkedIn right now, just trying to get my plan together to actually start attacking LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So, so I uploaded some, I repurposed, which I'm not a fan of, but I repurposed some Instagram videos because I didn't want to make them just for Instagram in the vertical format, but I repurposed some Instagram videos and just kind of put them up there for the sake of putting them up there, and people watched them. So, it's definitely, and I don't have a lot of, connections on there either. So for the little bit of connections that I have, I was actually pretty surprised at the amount of people that actually watch those videos. So yeah, I see the potential there, and we're getting ready to talk to her who has, who is tapped into the potential.
Yeah.
But me personally, I'm putting the plan together right now to actually start uploading stuff more frequently to LinkedIn.
I'm in the same boat. I'm trying to build belief, and we hope to build your belief today. That's why we're bringing on Judy Fox, a.k.a. Fox Rocks on LinkedIn. She's from Richmond, Virginia, and known for her Gen X experience meets millennial energy style. That's good. Millennial Energy Style. That's like a rap group name. I like that a lot. Here's fascinating. She has a master's of science in environmental management and 20 years sales experience working with senior management at Fortune 500 companies. Judy has over 1 million video views in 5 months on LinkedIn and is now a sought-after coach and consultant. Judy Fox, great to have you on the show today.
Excited to be here.
I'm glad you're here. Now, we met at Video Marketing World, but you sort of hit the world by storm with this breakout LinkedIn video. Tell us a little bit about your sort of meteoric rise over the last 5-6 months here.
So I have been online for a really long time. I graduated in 1994 from high school. So people see me online and they think, oh, this is so meteoric. But I've actually been on the internet and on social media for a really long time. And at the same time, I feel like it's kind of this merge of all things. And it is mostly because of video and realizing that I wanted to go all in on LinkedIn video specifically.
So what happened? Was there a moment, was there a video that particularly took off that said, hey, wow, there's something here?
It was my first one. Basically, I got on, I made my first video talking about a podcast I had just listened to with Marie Forleo and Danielle Laporte. And I talked about goal setting, and I talked about how frustrating goal setting after 20 years in business, at some point, it felt really dead to me. That I was setting these goals and they didn't feel like my goals anymore. They felt like other people's goals. So I talked about for 2018, I wanted my goals to align with my soul.
I like
and that just really resonated with a lot. Of people.
I think that's good.
It just resonated with me just now. That's good. Yeah, that's good stuff.
It did. I think you could spell goals like Gouls. Right?
Oh.
And you could combine that. You could do a ghouls thing for Halloween. Like it's versatile.
Owen's on a roll tonight.
It's a versatile thing. So Judy Fox, one video and it goes nuts, and that's just sort of like what, right? That's just beginner's luck, right? And that's the only video you've ever done, right? And you've never been able to duplicate any kind of success like that. Is that correct? You're a fraud, right? You're a giant fraud.
It was the first video, and it made me realize that I've always had this voice inside of myself. I just never put it out to such a public audience because I had always felt up to that point that I was working for a company. Why would I go on LinkedIn? Why would I share a video? I just kept thinking to myself, why? I didn't have anything to sell at the moment. I didn't have anything at that exact moment other than I just had what I felt inside of myself, and I wanted to share it with more people than just my dog or something. I don't know.
Your dog. And I'm sure he'd be extremely interested as well. Like, I think the dog is well, we've got a lot of coaches, consultants, small business owners in the audience that are checking out the podcast. And so we want to share with them. We want you to share with them sort of your experience, and let's see if we can duplicate it. Let's see who out there can duplicate it. Before we do that and really dig in here with Judy Fox, Fox Rocks on LinkedIn. I want to invite you to share this episode in your timelines, on your news feeds right now. Click that share button. Tell your friends that you're in a great conversation on growing your business, entrepreneurialism, and we want them to join us. So while that's happening, Judy Fox of Fox Rocks, give us the lowdown on your business model. Okay, so what are you selling?
So right now I am selling coaching and consulting services, mostly strategy on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So a lot of people have reached out saying, how are you doing what you're doing? And can you show me how to do it?
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now, what industries are those coming from? What types of people are reaching out to you?
A lot of marketing professionals, a lot of people who are really able to crack the Instagram or YouTube space.
Yeah.
And now they're looking at LinkedIn and saying, how do you get on this platform? What is the ecosystem? How do you get in front of the brands and the companies that you want to actually see your videos?
Okay. All right. Perfect. I love that. That's fantastic. And so this is like a B2B and a B2C sort of environment?
Yes. I tend to say all the time that it's human to human.
Okay.
And the reason why is because what I have realized, and this goes into talking about how to operate on the platform, is that if I see somebody watching my video, they have liked it, they have commented. If I go over and give attention to what they're putting out on the platform, that actually gets me a faster conversation with them than I've noticed anything else does.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Staying true to the platform is, I think, tremendous in whichever platform you're on. Nick, you mentioned earlier that you don't care for repurposing, and I think that sort of like goes along those same lines. Okay, so tell us a little bit about, real quickly, your sales funnel. Now, are you connected to this big fancy, it's like see you on LinkedIn, click on this, and all this automation stuff like takes over? Tell us about your sales funnel.
Again, because I put front and center that I'm human to human, I've really, at this point in my business, and this is not my first business I've ever run, by the way, it's my second. So the first one I ran was an environmental consulting business.
Yeah.
And those were a lot larger contracts, anywhere from $20,000 to $70,000 contracts that I would close. And it was just, again, myself. So I either subcontracted to other people. So again, I'm giving you an idea. This is not my first rodeo.
Yeah.
It's just my first time showing people how to utilize LinkedIn to do that kind of consulting and close those types of contracts.
Fantastic, right? So it's like no fancy tools necessary. The right people, the right message. So let's dig in a little bit more here. Martine Lopez is asking, how do you get in front of the right people on LinkedIn?
At first, you're going to just assess where you are you have to just start where you are. If you have 200 connections, that's what you have. And if there's someone in particular that you want to get in front of, and there's a certain name or a certain brand,
right,
you would check your current connections to see if any of them are connected to them and if you're a second degree connection away.
And then what is that? So then you just get connected. What does that process look like? You just say, hey, with the automated default reply, or are you doing a lot of people at a time? How does that work?
So the way I work, and what I've also seen happen to other people, if you try to connect too fast with too many people,
right,
LinkedIn can actually they can limit you. They can decide and send you a message saying that you have violated their terms of service. And I've actually seen that message. Somebody sent it to me just this week saying they got hit with that message, and it's permanent. I was super surprised to see that it was permanent.
Does that cause like a suppression on the account, like you being able to reach out, or does that cause them to delete the account as a whole?
It caused a suppression of the account. That person now has to know everyone's email address that they want to connect to.
Wow.
So be careful.
Yeah. That's huge advantage of LinkedIn too, is that you're reaching out to sort of these business professionals that are pre-qualified based on their profile. So you really have the opportunity to connect with people that are specific to your customer base and also the people you meet at conferences or that you sort of meet along the way. Hey, want to say what's up to our 31 live viewers on YouTube. Folks, smash that subscribe button. Let us know that you're out there. Great to have you here. Inner Geek Designs is saying, I'm very interested in LinkedIn video. He's saying, do company pages perform as well as personal pages on LinkedIn for video? Your thoughts, Judy Fox.
So right now they don't. They don't maybe have as much of the large reach, maybe the huge numbers that you might get on your personal page or your personal profile. However, when you upload that video, you're going to reach very specific marketed people that you would want to reach.
Yeah.
So there are positives to having your company page. And I've seen it in other companies that I work with. I find it interesting because they look at me and they say, but you don't have a company page yourself.
Right.
And at this time, I don't, because I've built my profile to provide value through my personal page. And some people build a personal page and then realize their audience they built, they couldn't talk about the work, if that makes sense. And they would lose their audience.
Oh, are you kidding me? I can't even believe the amount of times I've heard that from bigger brands, right? It's just like, oh, it's like, hush. No, you can't talk about this. You can't mention this, that, or the other thing, the thing that we're doing. I've seen that. I've experienced that. And I've never done anything. I mean, I think I have a business page from like the first time we did the business. And I may have changed the name just to stay current. I can't remember if I've ever even posted on it. Do you see are there any business pages that are performing exceptionally well that are exceptions to this rule?
I mean, I see people who are using them and they are working. I know Michaela Alexis loves her business page and she has grown it to, I think she might be at 2,000 or 3,000 followers.
Yeah, wow.
As a, entrepreneur, a person running their own company, I think she's a great example. And there's a lot to learn from how she shares and what she puts on her page. Yeah,
fantastic. So check that out, folks, next time that you're on LinkedIn. So we've got a lot of questions coming in about LinkedIn video, and they sort of go to the next level. So let's start with some basic stuff and talk about what makes a good LinkedIn video.
I think the first thing that makes it really good is jumping right into your content. I feel like a lot of people come over from YouTube and they want to introduce themselves, but on LinkedIn, because you have your profile right there, your name is right there, you don't have to do as much introduction.
So when you talk about, just jumping in, give us an example of what that looks like. Are you teaching? Are you inspiring? Are you educating? Because you're kind of keeping it mellow today, Fox Rocks. Like, I'm wondering, because I've seen you in person and I've seen your videos, and you wear wigs and you are like to the nines. You are a performer on camera, and I think that's part of what makes your videos stand out. Is that in this world of like, welcome to my LinkedIn video, you are this breath of fresh air. So how are you starting your videos to stop the scroll in the newsfeed?
I do the biggest smile that you can imagine. I get up, my face is in the camera. I'm looking in the camera, giving you guys a huge smile. And because there's no custom thumbnails, or at least if LinkedIn's working on it, they haven't quite gotten it tuned in yet, just like YouTube has, you're able to upload a custom thumbnail. They don't quite have that nailed down on LinkedIn yet.
Right.
So I make the first frame of the video is the thumbnail.
Okay. First frame of the thumbnail is the video. Nice. That's massive. Yeah, that's massive.
Yeah, huge.
So do you upload a picture?
Don't look like this or like really sad, or just try to look like you're about to provide high energy or something, or a smile, or we can see your eyes, we can see your face.
So if somebody's starting out and they're like, hey, I'm going to start, attacking LinkedIn, like me, like I'm putting that plan together also. So like if somebody's wanting to attack it, like what are some of the first steps that they need to take in order to in order to start? I mean, of course, making the videos and putting the videos up, but what are some additional first steps they need to take in order to, get it working for them? Is there something that you need to do to the profile? Is there like a specific schedule they should keep? Should they be uploading daily? Should they upload once a week? Like what's the general baseline best practices for LinkedIn?
I feel like I have two things I really want to say about those. Number one, it's what you do that you enjoy. So if you can make it in your schedule and it doesn't cause all this extra stress and strain, and that way you're not showing up in a way that is negative, I feel like it comes through in your video. So for example, I have had moments where I've taken a week off and I haven't posted my own uploads, my own videos, but I stay engaged in the comments. I don't ever leave the platform in a way that just disappears, but I keep showing up in the comments. And then the second thing is, because at the end of the day, you really want to get your video seen by certain people, or if you're attacking certain brands, or if you're going for a certain market. So you might make a list of 10 people to engage in their content before you even upload your first video. And the reason why is because they're more likely to see your video if you've engaged and have a conversation back and forth.
That's huge. So engage first and sort of trigger the algorithm for them, right? So they're more likely to kind of see your stuff. I think that's a huge first tip on the setting the algorithm off and getting seen. What are some other tips that we need to understand in sort of the video structure in order to trigger the algorithm? And I guess that includes things like comments and likes. And what are the things we're looking to get so that LinkedIn shows our video into more news feeds?
So definitely the things that happen are, number one, the algorithm can change anytime. There was just an announcement, the algorithm changed, and somebody called it the Robin Hood change, where they were going to make sure to show smaller creators' content to more people.
Yeah.
So that is a really good algorithm change for people wanting to get on the platform. It's definitely a signal from LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then the second thing, because I say the algorithm can change anytime, you want to take advantage of hashtags and take advantage of tagging your network, which is why I say to connect with about 10 people in your network that might be some of your biggest fans of what you're about to put out. And that way you can tag them and it's relevant, and you're not just randomly tagging and spamming your friends, but you're saying, hey, I recently put out this video. And then if you tag them, their network will most likely see your video.
Interesting.
So those are some things that if you get on the platform, you'll trigger the algorithm to show. And then the third thing I would do is stay on your content. If you're going to post within that first hour, I would stay on it. So reply to each person. And then I even sometimes, this goes back into what is my sales funnel. If I see that somebody I was interested in comments and likes my video, I'm going to go over to their page, like and comment on something with theirs, start a conversation, then take it into the DMs.
Yeah. Wow. Take it into the DMs. This is like
just straight to the DMs, just like that, huh?
I'm on the LI, on the DL. I'm trying to go right into the DMs, y'all. That major, I need to get some sound effects, right? Ding, like major moment there on LinkedIn. We're having, again, a lot of comments on YouTube and on Facebook from our live viewers. And it's great to see
Do you want me to throw on a wig?
Yeah, if you've got one. If you've got one, show us what you got.
Absolutely throw on a wig.
A lot of comments coming in. Commenting on the note taking that Nick and I are doing. Like, we're both sort of like scribbling furiously these notes, and people sort of notice that. And I think I'm learning a ton here. So there it is.
Nice.
There it is. Now,
I'm blonde. I don't know how I feel about this.
So for those of you listening on the podcast, Judy just came on with this blonde wig. It looks fantastic, and it's silly. It's eye-popping. It stops the scroll. My question is, you know, how are you using the dress up, right? Because I think for some people it thinks, oh, I have to be like this crazy outspoken YouTubey type of person to get traction on LinkedIn. What's the type of content that's working? Your content, other people's content, you're plugged into those circles. What type of content is working on LinkedIn? Educational, funny, inspirational? Talk a little bit about that.
I would say that a mix has been really helpful. I feel really awkward in this wig right now.
No, own it, girl. Own it.
Own it. Well, I have my personality, and I'll talk about me for a second, but there is strategy behind my wigs. I love the idea of split screens. And at one point, there was a show that I wanted to get on.
Yeah.
And instead of getting on the show, I pretended I was the characters. Oh my God, I love it, Nick.
Yes. We got a show. Nick just put on a rocker wig, everybody that's listening in. Nick just put on a rocker wig, and it looks amazing.
Yeah. So I wanted to...
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, you're fine. I wanted to make sure that I could keep it fun, because whenever you think about doing anything online, if you lose the energy and the fun, you might not want to keep doing it. I mean, it takes energy to keep going. And we all know that. If you've been a creator or you've done anything for a while, it takes a lot of energy to keep going. So throwing on these wigs, turns out that for me, that was where some of the fun came in. And I could enjoy things and actually grow my team, which sounds funny, but I've got Virginia Marie Penn, and she is just lovely, and she is my virtual assistant, and she is the blonde happening right here.
So you have characters. You actually have a character. It's not just like, hey, it's Judy in a wig. Like, this is a character with a past and a history, and I'm sure she's delivering a message that's on brand, that's sort of like what I do to help Judy Fox. Is that kind of the way it works?
Yes. So she does some of my shout outs. For example, there was a couple weeks where I got so many books and so many great people from the platform sending me products and sending me things to shout out. And I felt the best authentic way for me to share it would be if she got on and shared it.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Great way kind of thinking around, like outside of the box to stand out on LinkedIn. Great questions coming in. We're going to go to those right now.
I have a question while he's pulling those up. I have a question for you. So in terms of the expectations of the content on LinkedIn, so like you do not recommend like using like intros or anything like that. Like you want to keep it more raw, or is putting up more polished content like a better way to go? In terms of like selling stuff directly from the video, what's kind of the etiquette there? Even putting, URLs as a way that people can find additional things. Like, what are your recommendations on that stuff?
I definitely think my style is not everybody's style. So some people have those bumps and those intros. Like Neil Patel, he's got great intros, but if you pay attention to his content, he keeps it really kind of calm entry. He's not trying to be a personality. He's basically sending a signal to his audience. I'm about to drop a ton of value. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do my quick Neil Patel. This is where you can find me. And then I'm going to launch into my value that I'm going to offer to you. And there's going to be no fanfare about it. He keeps it interesting. He keeps screenshots and he flips between things, but he's there and showing up consistently the way that he does. And then I see other people. Richard Moore, for example, is a great somebody that I've seen that is so consistent on the platform. And he just keeps going. And he has an intro, he has an outro, but you know what to expect when you watch his videos. And you know to almost always, he set a signal, if that makes sense. So if you're setting your signal and your audience is responding to it, keep going. I just don't need an intro because I guess I'm an intro myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. So basically you're just saying, like, at the moment, it's kind of like wild, wild west in terms of no expectations. It's still kind of forming. So do your thing. And like, once you figure that out, then just ride that and focus on riding that instead of saying, hey, I have to make it this way, or I have to make it this way. What you're saying, as long as I'm picking up what you're putting down here, so to speak, is like you focus on you, do your thing, and see how they like it.
Correct.
Now, what do you think? That brings up an interesting point, because you have some thoughts on repurposing. How do you feel about repurposing YouTube content, Facebook content on to LinkedIn? How does that work? And then I want to go to some questions from the audience, because we're blowing up with some questions over here.
So I have used, and I've seen other creators use their Instagram stories. I've used my Instagram stories in my content. A lot of times what I've seen, so Chantel Sumas recently put out a video, and she gave value first and talked about how she was productivity hacks. And she was repurposing a post that she shared a long time ago, but she was updating it and saying, hey, I've been applying these 15 productivity hacks over the past couple years. Right. I wrote this post a couple years ago. And then I'm going to share the fun that I had this weekend in my Instagram story. And I'm just going to put it on the end of this video. And so it was fun. It was good energy. Even in some of my videos, I've done a mid-video dance break, and I shared an Instagram story. So I feel like you can be creative and mix the platforms. For example, I was looking at making a video where I was going to pull a couple snippets of what people are talking about on YouTube and how that then relates to LinkedIn. And I can talk, slip over to a YouTube video, and you could do the same thing, Owen or Nick. You could say, hey, I recently uploaded this video. This was a comment I got on this video. Show a snippet of your YouTube video. Go back to yourself and say, here's an answer that I had for that comment.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
That would be the value you would provide to LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think you could probably do that as well with your reviews, your business reviews. If you've got a small business, if you're on Yelp, and you could respond to questions. If you're selling products on Amazon, really great resource, and a lot of those things can be cross-purposed and multi-purposed. I'm missing out on the wigs. You guys are wearing such cool wigs. Yuli is saying, OMG, Nick. Can we show my wig again? When I do a wig, I do it with the whole family, right? It's not, we have a thing where if we're going to wear wigs, we all wear wigs. So at least I can join in spirit.
That's what family's all about right there.
A little bit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now, okay, we've got some great questions coming in from the audience. The Sonic guy, Paul Reiser, is saying, I've done very little with LinkedIn. What's the advantage to the paid subscription?
I think the advantage that I've had is being able to not reach any limits with some of my in-mails that I've either received or responded to. And the other thing is my search abilities are deeper. I have the Sales Navigator version.
Yeah.
But there's a less expensive kind of professional intro version that you would maybe get 5. I can't remember the exact number of in-mails. But in-mails are an opportunity to reach somebody that's outside of your first degree connections. And you would save that for somebody that you really want to get in front of.
Yeah. Great prospecting tools for LinkedIn as well. Junior ET is asking, I am a freelance video marketing creator. How can I get to my prospect without looking like a troll?
So
great question.
What do you... Yeah, nobody wants to look like a troll unless they're on Halloween.
Right. I see what you did there.
So the whole concept of spamming, and I think you can get away with not looking like a troll if you just keep value at the front of your mind. If you post something and you think, how is this providing if you make it about yourself, and you didn't provide any value, then that starts to look kind of trollish. Or if you turn around and say, check out this video to all of your connections, but there's no relevance to them, they're going to think you're spammy and trolly.
Great points there.
Nice.
When you're reaching out to people on LinkedIn as well, I found it useful to have some type of feedback on what they're doing. Hey, so-and-so, I had a chance. I found you across Google search, LinkedIn. I found you on LinkedIn. Loved your website. Great stuff that you guys are doing there. Boom, friend request. You're just sort of keeping it. That's what people on LinkedIn are there for. But give it a preface. Start a conversation, Junior. And I'm glad you're watching on this channel, Junior ET. He's got a freelance video marketing company. That's exactly what I did to grow. And I'm glad you're here. You're exactly the type of guy we're looking for. Michael Haley is asking question: does LinkedIn have targeting options or SEO terms to help kind of get your video seen and into the news feed? Is there any type of video optimization that you would recommend on LinkedIn?
I think the video optimization that I would do is, and this is what I do, is make sure in the very top about 300 characters that you've either created something compelling or strong. Somebody who writes read more below or watch this, that doesn't really tell anybody what value you're going to offer. There's always the clickbait ones, and they only last for so long. Your audience would get burned out on clickbait where you don't actually tell them what the video is about. What I do personally is I tell the world what this video is about. I don't hold back in any of my text and share what they're about to watch. I even, somebody reached out recently and said, somebody I met at Vid Summit, and they said, why did you tag and put all the lines for where you can find information in this video? Like, for example, at minute 30, I said, here's what you're going to see at minute 30. And I wrote back and I said, because I don't want anyone to question the value they're about to see by watching this video. Nice. So as far as SEO I think your hashtags are huge. Okay. If you search hashtags, you can actually see how many followers of the hashtags there are. And it's not, when I think about Instagram hashtags versus LinkedIn right now, if you use hashtag social media and you upload this video, this discussion, people who follow that hashtag will see this. And it's not as competitive yet that I can tell in the algorithm. Again, the algorithms are always changing.
Right.
But I've noticed that my content gets seen. And then you go back in and you search for that hashtag to see if your content is showing up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, LinkedIn sort of works similarly. And now we've all sort of joined the wig game. But my wife brought me a wig right now. She brought me this, and it's funny. I think she brought me Benny's because it's tight and it's cutting off.
But it looks great.
Does it?
It looks great.
I especially like this wild piece that's just kind of hanging off the side. It reminds me of my Uncle Lester. Right?
It adds character.
It does. No, it does. I just need a Pabst Blue Ribbon, a PBR in my hand. You know what I mean? And we're maybe an A T-shirt. I think is what they call them at the store. That's great stuff. Judy Fox of Fox Rocks, the Sonic guy Paul Reiser is saying, I'm going to rephrase it. Can you post YouTube links on LinkedIn? Do you want to be driving people over to YouTube, or do you want to be engaging them on the platform? I think that's really the question that he's asking.
I think doing both is fine. Again, it depends on your strategy and your profile, what you are after. If you are truly going to post if you're going to post YouTube content and your links to your YouTube content, it would be probably smart to mix it up to get more traction. Mm-hmm. But I've seen people who post their YouTube links and it works for them. That's what they want to do. That's how they want to put themselves out there. And I think that's fine. It all depends on if you're getting the results from what you're doing.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's is that working? I don't know that LinkedIn has any definite biases against YouTube the way that Facebook does, right? Where it's going to downgrade your post. You can put you could put a YouTube video into your profile on LinkedIn, and there's a couple different ways to use that. But I think the idea is to be looking at LinkedIn like a content platform, like a publishing platform. Where a guy like the Sonic guy Paul Reiser could be posting trailers on LinkedIn that go to longer form videos on YouTube if you were looking to build some of the things that way. Eileen Smith is jumping in, says you all need Snap Camera. You guys heard about Snap Camera? Just came out.
No, what is it?
I don't know much about it. Snapchat released a camera app, I believe, is what it is. So I'm guessing it has a lot of the same filters and things like this. But Eileen Smith, I'd love to hear from you on this. What I'm using a lot or playing with now is Apple Clips with the the automated caption feature, as I'm playing a lot with that and seeing how that works. We've got Carlos Cepeda says, I need to up my wig game. Simply Beth says, bowl cut Owen Hemsath. Oh, my gosh. Sonic guy, Paul Reiser. I like Paul. Paul, engages in the show. I love it. Sonic says, thanks for clarifying what I said, Owen. Can you come to my house and explain to my wife what I'm trying to say? Yeah, we actually do that. You don't know, my wife and I are marriage coaches on the side. So for the one, it's our side hustle, $97, Paul, and I do marriage intervention type stuff. Affiliate marketing. Our good friend Marcus Campbell is saying, would LinkedIn would be good for targeting a niche like affiliate marketing or for video marketing training? So that's a great question. Is there an opportunity on LinkedIn to create hey, come to LinkedIn if you want to see my training on video marketing, to create a real platform presence like YouTube?
I think when you say that, you mean come to LinkedIn to watch a series of videos that I've got that I put out, like a playlist.
Yeah.
It's not as organized. I think it's harder for people to potentially follow a playlist like YouTube.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So you're making these sort of are you making corners? Are you making weekly content? Are you making content when you feel like it, but basically weekly? You know what I mean? That type of thing. How important is consistency and having that standard upload time, that standard?
I think consistency is important. And again, it depends on your audience. I haven't set an audience that's sitting there going, okay, Judy's going to be online at Monday at 8 a.m. I just haven't done that, but I think other people have, and it's worked out really well for them.
Yeah.
And again, if what you're doing is working, keep doing it. And if that's your style, go for it. I reached a point where like I said, my first video was all about about burnout and saying, I can't do these goals anymore that don't align with me. And so my first branded conversation that I had with myself was, I was like, this has got to be fun.
Right.
If it stops being fun, I've got to rethink how I'm doing it, and I've got to keep fun. It doesn't mean that I can't be making impact and that I just feel like work can be more fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Marcus has great content. He has educational content. If you're teaching on LinkedIn, do you think you'll gain an audience?
Sorry, my computer all of a sudden freaked out. If you're teaching on LinkedIn, yes. If you turn around and say, I have a series of, I almost feel like you would drive people over to watch your playlist on YouTube then.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
To say so I would say, here, do your intro, a short one, and say, I've got this value, and what you're going to get from watching these videos on YouTube. You could then show your screen and show that you've got this playlist and play a little bit of clips of them. And then that's it. And then that way people get a taste of it. But don't do that every day, all the time.
Right.
Start to talk about what's in your playlist. And that's fine. If you wanted to keep going, and the next video you talk about what it entails to even make something like that. What's the behind the scenes of making a playlist that provides value?
Yeah.
How did you come to that place in your career and life that you wanted to share that content? And how did you map it out? People want to see your thought process on LinkedIn.
That's huge. Judy Fox, bring in the
huge.
funk.
Yeah, that's great.
Bring in the fire. Yeah. Yes. Yes. I love it, Judy Fox. Well, hey, how do we stay in touch with you and learn more about what you're doing with LinkedIn Video?
Well, you can follow me on LinkedIn. And we don't have subscribe. We have follow and connect. Those are two different things. I will most likely connect with you. If you hit the connect button, I'm going to accept. There's a 30,000 person limit of connections. And right now I'm at 15,000 followers. So I'm still open.
It's not a competition,
right.
Judy. Thanks for just throwing that in there, just right there, just like an elbow drop on the ego. If you don't have 15,000, you're nothing. That's what my brain heard when she said.
That's what I heard too.
Especially in the blonde wig, it reminds me of my mother. It's like, you are nothing. You're nothing. boy. You know?
No, the numbers at the end of the day, what really matters, people can have these huge numbers and huge followers, and then they make a post and they get like 2 likes.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Yeah.
You've been there. Got to try it. LinkedIn. I'm going to try it. I'm going to get on board. Nick Nimmin, what about you? You're going to pump out a LinkedIn strategy after this?
Absolutely. I'm already putting a plan together. I'm just trying to figure out how to work it into my workflow. So,
well,
yeah,
I'll tell you what. You know who may be able to help with that is Judy Fox over at Fox Rocks. Thanks for joining us today. And thank you guys for tuning in live to the Business of Video podcast. Hey, if you enjoyed the show on iTunes, feel free to leave us a review, and please do. We would love to hear more from you guys. We'd love to hear more from the leaders and the experts that you would like to hear from on this podcast. Don't forget to join us again next week. We have a huge show for you next week. Melissa Maker is going to be joining us. She's got over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, but get this, she has $1 million business as well, and the YouTube channel, the business, are all very closely related. It's fantastic. We're going to share her story and what she's done to become a phenomenal business success with YouTube video. Can't wait to see you there. Happy trick-or-treating. We'll see you guys next week on the Business of Video podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Business of Video podcast. If you like the show, give us a review on iTunes or share this episode on social media now. Join us next time on Facebook Live. Just visit businessofvideopodcast.com and subscribe to the newsletter updates. This podcast is brought to you by Tuber Tools and BizTubeAcademy.com.